This is the story of Shaban, a quiet and responsible Muslim man, and Zainab, a confident and intelligent woman. Their journey began at a wedding. They were both invited by friends and met by chance. Something about their first conversation made them both smile. Shaban was not a man of many words. He was calm, thoughtful, and deeply responsible. He worked as an architect, designing homes and buildings, always focused, always dependable. Zainab, on the other hand, was lively, outgoing, and admired by many. She worked as a news anchor for a local television station. Her beauty and confidence caught everyone's attention, but for Shaban, it was her mind and strength that stood out the most. After that first meeting, they stayed in touch. Friendship turned into love, and soon they got married. In the beginning, life was simple, just the two of them working hard and enjoying their new life together. They shared laughter, dreams, and hopes for the future. Then came the blessing they had been waiting for, the birth of their son, Yusuf. He brought light into their home and joy into their hearts. But with his arrival, things also began to change.
Zainab's work became more demanding, and Shaban was already busy with his projects. The responsibilities at home increased, and the house began to feel heavy with tasks. So they made a decision to hire a maid to help with chores and childcare. Her name was Zera. At first, Zera was quiet and respectful. She cleaned, cooked, and helped with baby Yusuf. She did her job well, and the house ran smoothly. She wasn't family, but she brought peace to the household. But slowly, things began to shift. Zainab, overwhelmed with her career, began to hand over more and more of her personal duties to Zera. It started with simple things, but it escalated. Zainab even asked Zera to make their bed each morning and wash her personal lingerie, tasks far too intimate for a maid. Shaban found it uncomfortable, but Zainab didn't see the issue. He gently advised his wife, "Zainab, there are things a maid should do, and there are things a wife should never hand over." But Zainab brushed him off. "She's paid to do everything," she said. "I'm exhausted after work. I have no energy to do anything." Days turned into weeks. Zainab became more distant, not just with the house, but with her husband and even with her own son. Whenever Shaban asked her for anything, she would reply, "Ask Zera." It wasn't long before little Yusuf started seeing Zera not just as a helper, but as a motherly figure. She was the one who fed him, bathed him, rocked him to sleep, and kissed his forehead when he cried.
Shaban, despite his busy schedule, still made time for his son, but he noticed the growing bond between Zera and Yusuf, and it made him worry. One evening, Yusuf woke up crying. Zera, as usual, rushed to comfort him. Shaban was startled awake and asked Zainab to go check on him. She turned over and said, "I'm tired." "But you're off tomorrow. You have the whole day to rest," he reminded her gently. "Zera is with him. Let her handle it." Shaban frowned. "Zainab, Zera is not his mother. You are. How can you not care when your son is crying?" Zainab snapped back. "And you're his father. Why don't you do something?" That moment broke something inside Shaban. He got out of bed, walked out silently, and found Zera gently rocking Yusuf. The baby slowly stopped crying and fell asleep in her arms. Shaban stood there, watching, in silence, in pain, in reflection. He realized something that night. Zera was doing far more than what was expected. She wasn't just a maid. She was the one holding the family together, while the actual wife was slipping further away. Out of appreciation, Shaban increased her salary, but it wasn't just about money anymore. As Zainab became more distant, too tired to talk, too tired to be close, Shaban and Zera started talking more. Their conversations were not romantic, but they were honest, comfortable, warm. As time passed, Shaban began to feel something he hadn't felt in a long time: companionship. But the situation reached its worst when one night Shaban approached his wife, craving closeness. She turned him away again. "I'm not in the mood." "Neither am I, but this is part of our marriage. We need to find time for each other." Her response was cold. "I'm too tired, Shaban. Why is it so hard for you to understand?" That night, Shaban sat alone in the living room. Zera came out to check on the door before bed. He asked for a cup of coffee. She brought it. As he drank, she waited, and without meaning to, he opened his heart. He spoke about feeling invisible, unseen, unheard. Zera didn't say much. She just listened. And as he kept talking, she became a quiet presence, reminding him of peace, of patience, of warmth. Without realizing, she slowly drifted off to sleep on the couch. Shaban looked at her, really looked. Her kindness, her patience, her strength. He didn't wake her. Instead, he got a blanket and gently covered her. That night, a decision was made in his heart. He will make Zera his second wife, not out of anger or revenge, but because she had touched the part of his heart that had long been ignored.
The next morning, he planned to speak to her, but before he could, an urgent call from work came in. He left immediately. At the office, something unexpected happened. His coworkers and boss congratulated him. A design he had created won the firm major recognition. He was promoted to head architect. Excited, he called Zainab to share the news. They planned a day at the park to celebrate with Yusuf and Zera. At the park, everything seemed fine until Zainab got a call. It was about a breaking news story. Though her coworkers could handle it, she insisted on going herself. "Don't wait for me," she said. "You guys enjoy." And just like that, she left. Shaban didn't say a word. He took Zera and little Yusuf to a beautiful restaurant. There, over a quiet meal, he proposed. Zera was shocked. She had never imagined such a thing, but Shaban was calm. He said, "I won't pressure you. Take your time, think, speak to your parents." Zera did exactly that. Her parents were surprised but didn't reject the idea. They told her, "If he's serious, let him speak to us properly. No secrets, no shame." In her heart, Zera already knew. She had grown close to Shaban, not out of desire, but respect, admiration, and silent love. She accepted. Shaban then informed his parents. They were shocked, but didn't object. His mother only asked, "Is there something wrong with Zainab?" He didn't say much, only that his needs weren't being met anymore. But one person was furious, his sister, Halima. "You want to marry a maid?" she laughed. "Are you serious?" Shaban replied firmly, "Don't look down on people. That's not how a Muslim should think." Later, his father asked gently, "Why are you really doing this?" Shaban told the truth. "Zainab has changed. I tried to fix it. I was patient, but I feel like a stranger in my own marriage. I miss companionship, and I found peace in Zera. She listens. She's kind. She's good with Yusuf. I didn't plan it, but my heart moved." His father nodded slowly, absorbing every word. "Then, my son, if your intention is sincere, and if you fear Allah, then do what you believe is right. But never forget, Allah has made it a serious responsibility. You must be just." Shaban agreed. But before he could tell Zainab himself, his sister Halima couldn't hold back. She called Zainab. "You won't believe what your husband is planning," she said. "He's going to marry your maid." Zainab froze. "What? That's not possible." "I saw it myself. He already proposed." "No, I don't believe it. Yes, we had our problems, but he would never go so far as to marry our maid." "I'm so sorry, Zainab," Halima said gently. "I didn't want to be the one to tell you, but I thought you should hear it from me before everyone else finds out." "Thank you for telling me," Zainab said quietly. "I have to go." Zainab's heart shattered. She couldn't concentrate at work. She immediately asked for emergency leave and rushed home. When she got there, she found Zera in the living room, changing Yusuf's diaper. She didn't greet her. She didn't hesitate. "Pack your things and leave my house. Today." Zera turned around, confused and scared. "Madam, please, what happened?" "You know exactly what happened. Don't play innocent. Tell me the truth. What's between you and Shaban?" Zera's hands trembled. Her voice shook. I'm sorry. I never intended to cause harm." Zainab's eyes filled with anger, realizing that Halima was right. She stormed into Zera's room, opened her closet, and began throwing her clothes on the floor. "Take your things, and everything I ever gave you stays here. I don't want you leaving with anything of mine." Zera quietly packed her suitcase. As she opened the door to leave, Shaban walked in. He saw her standing there, suitcase in hand, eyes full of tears. "Zera, where are you going?" Before she could answer, Zainab appeared. "She's leaving. That's where she's going." Shaban calmly asked Zera to go back to her room and wait. He gently took Zainab to their bedroom to speak privately. Inside, Zainab demanded answers. "Are you really marrying her? Is that what this is?" Shaban looked her in the eyes and said, "Yes. I've already proposed to her, and she accepted." Zainab's voice cracked. "Our maid, Shaban. Why? Am I not enough?" Shaban sighed. "I'm not doing this to hurt you, Zainab, but you stopped being my partner. You became too busy, too distant. I needed you, and you kept pushing me away." Tears rolled down Zainab's face. "So your solution is another wife?" He said, "I didn't rush to this. I waited. I advised you. I reminded you, but nothing changed." Zainab whispered, "Then I want a divorce." "No," Shaban said, "that's not my plan. I'm not divorcing you, Zainab. I still respect you. You're still the mother of my child, but I will marry Zara." Zainab didn't speak. Her silence said everything. But one thing she made clear: If you marry her, she doesn't stay in this house. This home belongs to me and Yusuf. Does this mean you've accepted her as your co-wife? Shaban asked. No, Shaban, I haven't, she replied firmly. After the divorce, I'll stay in this house with little Yusuf, unless you plan to throw us out too. With those words, she turned and walked out, leaving Shaban standing there in silence. The next day, Shaban took Zera to her parents' home. He formally asked for her hand in marriage. Her parents accepted, but expressed concern. Zera comes from a simple background. Are you prepared to protect her from the pressures of your world? Shaban said, she will be honored and respected. I will treat her as I treat Zainab, with fairness and dignity. Zainab, heartbroken, went to her mother's home. She cried in her mother's lap, asking, why would Allah test me like this? Her mother wiped her tears and replied gently, my daughter, Allah allows a man to marry more than one wife, not to hurt the first, but to provide balance when needed. You can choose to fight this, or you can choose to accept what Allah has written. Don't let your pride destroy your future. Zainab didn't like the answer, but deep in her heart, she knew her mother was right. Soon after, Shaban and Zera had their nikah. It was a simple ceremony, with blessings and du'as. Not everyone in Shaban's family was happy that he married a maid, but Shaban didn't care. He was ready to stand by his wife and protect her from any disrespect.
Shaban and Zera moved into a modest new home. Zina remained at the old house with Yusuf. Despite everything, Shaban made sure to visit regularly, never neglecting his duties to his son or to Zainab. Over time, Zainab adjusted to the situation and stopped asking for a divorce. In time, Zera gave birth to a daughter, but even then she continued to care for Yusuf like her own. She never tried to replace Zainab, only to fill the gaps with love and patience. Shaban saw how gifted Zera was with children. One evening he said, "You have a talent. Why don't we open a daycare center?" Zera hesitated. "Me? I don't know anything about running a daycare center." "You're much more than that," he replied. "You're a mother. You're kind. You can give children what many homes lack, gentle care." He enrolled her in professional classes, and after months of training, Zera opened her own daycare center. It quickly grew popular. Parents trusted her, children loved her. Meanwhile, Halima, Shaban's sister, told Zainab that Yusuf had been spending time at Zera's daycare. Zainab was shocked. She went to Shaban. "Why didn't you tell me?" He looked down and replied, "I was afraid. I didn't want to hurt you again." Surprisingly, Zainab didn't argue. She simply nodded. But a few days later, something unexpected happened. Zainab visited Zera's daycare. Zera was stunned, nervous, but Zainab came calmly. She looked around and saw the children laughing, including her son. He was happy, safe, and loved. She turned to Zera and said softly, "Thank you for taking care of Yusuf." Zera blinked away her tears. "He's like my own." That day, the wall between them cracked. Not completely, but enough for some light to pass through. Zainab didn't become Zera's best friend, but she stopped seeing her as a threat. Zera didn't walk in pride. She continued to respect Zainab as the first wife and mother of the child she helped raise. Shaban, now a man with two wives, carried a heavy responsibility, but he tried his best to be fair and just. He never compared them, he never played games, he spent time equally, he provided equally, he gave love equally, and slowly, peace returned to their lives. This story is not perfect, but neither are people. It's a story of how life tests us, how marriage isn't just about love, it's about commitment, patience, communication, and faith. Shaban didn't marry again out of greed. He did it because he had a void, and Zainab, despite her good qualities, stopped seeing it. Zainab learned a lesson, a painful one, that marriage needs constant effort, not just in the beginning, but always. Zainab taught that being humble and sincere can win hearts, even without trying. May Allah grant us all strong marriages built on love, mercy, and taqwa.